Hello and welcome to Card Central 365, powered by Graybar and STL Sports Central. I'm Stefan Caray. He's Joe Roderick. All content here is provided by DraftKings. The crown is yours. It was a very eventful evening for me yesterday, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it on the pregame show. I had some other responsibilities, but of course the amazing staff over at our studios helped to pick up my slack. So I thank you so much, Joe, for making that happen.
Absolutely, and congratulations on making your MLB debut. I know it was really special for you, and I'm sure your dad, if you watched the broadcast, you couldn't wipe that smile off his face, and I'm sure there were a lot of other emotions going on behind the scenes. And as far as you went last night on the call, Stefan, if people saw you and saw the jacket you were wearing, you are your father's son. I think that was very evident last night.
Yeah. Pink was a choice. It certainly was a choice, and it brought out some of my paler shades. I'll say it that way. Very rosy cheeks. Looked bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. This was a really phenomenal night for me and for my family. And I think the part of it that gets swept under the rug a little bit, and we didn't really touch on it a ton during the broadcast. I don't think there's ever been a father broadcasting a game at the same time as his two sons. I don't think that's ever happened before.
I'm trying to think back just as far as the families have gone and the history of Major League Broadcasting. Jack and Joe have done, they did games together back in the day, and outside of that, I mean, your great grandfather and your grandfather, but there were never two sons at the same time for that. But Harry, Skip, and Chip, they all did show a game together, correct?
They did, yes. This was in the 90s when my dad was working with the Braves and they were playing the Cubs at Wrigley. I still have that picture hanging up above my bed in my room in St. Augustine. It was kind of a surreal moment to be able to sort of take that in. We did the pregame show. We were sitting there with our microphones right in front of the Cardinals dugout. And it just felt like everything that I've worked toward was sort of coming to fruition. And the fact that FanDuel had enough trust in me, faith in me, and they respect my dad and my brother as much as they do, it was just a really special thing. And I feel bad because there are so many people that texted me saying, "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me?" Well, I couldn't. There was not necessarily a gag order, but it was encouraged to keep things under wraps. And we didn't really know how it was going to play out. But sometimes that's how things work out best, is you just let it happen, you make it happen, and you go and do the best job that you can. And with my dad and Brad being in the booth, it was a lot of fun and really comfortable for me.
Let me flip the script on you here for a bit and ask you questions about last night, because I know the Cardinals and FanDuel, and they've posted a lot about it. We've shown a lot of clips, or we've seen a lot of clips from it last night. When you go into that, you're doing just the third and fourth inning of the game. I can't imagine the nerves that you had, not only for being your first time, but also the family experience we've talked about. Are you wanting a lot of action? Are you wanting just a simple 3 up, 3 down? Like, what in your mind, is there a perfect scenario of how you want the game on the field to play out so you can put out your best work when the game is going on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that first inning, you want it to be a quick inning. You want to be able to settle in. You don't want to have to talk too much. You want to just be able to tell yourself, all right, I've done a half an inning. That's under my belt. Now we go forward. Now it's just like anything else. And the introduction, the taglines, it was great because they kind of were talking to me like they were going to have the training wheels on in the beginning. And I've done a ton of baseball games. I worked in Amarillo. I did the Arizona Fall League. I did games in college. So it wasn't an unfamiliar position for me. It was just on a bigger stage. So I think the way that it played out was almost perfect. You saw good pitching. You saw strikeouts. Every broadcaster would love to have a home run in their first game. I think that's the one thing that was missing.
Do you want to have that? Because you want to make that call perfect. You messed that call up, and if there's any mistake made, and that your brother learned that the hard way.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, but he did it. He did it in like his 130th game. So
right.
he's in good position. My brother, the first guy that ever hit a home run on his call was Lawrence Butler. It was in his first game. And then Lawrence Butler ended up hitting a walk-off RBI single for his first game call ever. So there was a lot. And it's a weird thing, right? When you hear, hey, he's making his major league debut, you expect the full 9. I was just happy to get a couple of innings and really prove to myself that, hey, I can do this. And I don't think the pressures for me came from, hey, I want to do the best I can. Of course, we all feel that way. The bigger pressure is I'm going to constantly be compared to my identical twin that's sitting 15 feet to my right, separated by a wall, right? If I screw up, it's, he can't hold a candle to his brother or his dad. And of course, I want to be in that same conversation with them. I want to be where they are. And that was a really nice appetizer to hopefully what's to come in my career. But I'd be lying if I said that there weren't some nerves, that there were some things that maybe I wish I could have done a little bit better. But I think by and large, you got to give yourself the grace of knowing this is one of hopefully very many more. And I think the hardest part of all of it actually is waking up this morning and typing until my fingers bleed, because there have been so many people reaching out saying such amazing things. It's really an emotional thing. This is the nicest part. It feels like I'm getting back into some semblance of normalcy, getting to do the show with you.
Yeah, it was fun to listen to. And I'm sure you as well are very appreciative. And I have enjoyed seeing what the Cardinals have put out, going and showcasing everything too with that, because listening to it and doing, God, I don't know how many shows, I've done with you and listened to shows that you've done here on STL Sports Central, but to then hear you in your, what I'm going to call your natural element of doing play-by-play for a game, was a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what's important for me is that when Dave Green and Mike Claiborne and you came together and gave me this opportunity, I was in a place where I just was kind of lost. I was a guy that interviewed for a bunch of major league jobs that didn't go my way. And you guys saw an opportunity to get me out there and introduce me to the fans in St. Louis. Without doing this show, I don't think I would have had as warm of a reception. I would have just been Chip's kid. And the fact that the Cardinals and you guys have boosted me up so much, it allows me to create my own identity within this organization and within this town. I think there's always some fear because of what my last name is, that they're just going to assume that I walked in there and my dad said, hey, go and take 2 innings. Well, that's very flawed logic, because I've been to probably about 15 to 20 games at Busch Stadium with just as much play-by-play experience as I have now. And that's never something that was offered to me, nor would I accept it if it was. This was such a professionally handled situation. Chris Tuno at PR, Bill Cochran, Ed Placey, Norby Williamson getting involved, Brian Shapiro, our producer, Tom Mee, the director, and of course, Brad and my dad. They made it so fun and so nice. And it just was really a good way to get a major league career kickstarted, assuming that maybe some things go right and maybe I end up somewhere next year.
And hopefully you, much like your dad, to the enjoyment of your younger brother who was here in the studio the other day, hopefully you were able to give enough shout outs to your executive producer, Brian Shapiro, yesterday during the game.
He was great, and I think he's really,
I know Tristan said he really enjoys when Chip makes mention.
Loves him, and again, it just is. He's so good at his job. He is so calm. He steers the ship the right way. He's the captain. He's the quarterback, right? For people who aren't familiar with all the nuance that goes on when you have a headset on, there are people talking in your ear while you're calling play-by-play, and those people have to essentially be air traffic control. So he and Tom Mee and everybody in that truck, as well as the amazing people in the booth that helped us out, deserve all the credit in the world. And a quick pause here to remind you that this show is powered by Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Joe Roderick, Stefan Caray here with you on Card Central 365. It just was amazing. It was so much fun. It was great. My brother got emotional. It was funny. After that first half inning, I look over my shoulder, and we had just gone to break, and I see my brother standing over my shoulder. I'm like, how the heck did you get in here so fast? He was sprinting. I don't think I've ever seen him move that fast to try and get over to me. He wanted to know. He wanted the verdict. He couldn't wait to hear, because he knew I would give him the straight answer, good, bad, or ugly, if I had totally screwed it up. So I think that's the biggest thing, was just to be able to be there with my family, with my mom, my little brother who's trying to get into this crazy industry and will inevitably end up being better than any of the three of us ever were. It just was a perfect Wednesday evening, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But I'm just extremely grateful and thankful for the Cardinals and for FanDuel and the people behind the scenes that made this happen.
Yeah, congratulations again on that. And the best part was the Cardinals won the game. They scored a few runs while you were there in the booth. You saw one of two Wilson Contreras hits into the lights last night, which that was a big point of our post-game show last night, was the way Wilson just perfectly hit those balls into the lights to two, I don't want to say non-outfielders, but not primary outfielders with the Athletics. And one of the things I don't know if maybe you and your brother have talked about this throughout the year, and one of the things I kind of brought up in the post-game show that I was doing with Pelican last night was, not only are those two guys not primary outfielders, but to play half your games in a minor league ballpark like they do, you know this. I mean, when outfielders especially will go make that jump from AAA to the majors, we've seen this for decades, where players will lose the ball in the lights, lose the ball in that third tier of the stadium. And I do wonder how much of an impact that is for teams like the Athletics, and in this season too, the Rays, that are playing half their games in spring training and in lower level facilities, and then having to make this jump on the road. How many times something like that might have happened this year? Did your brother mention anything, or has he said anything during the season about something like that?
No, not really. And I kind of said it on the air yesterday, is that Brent Rooker's role on the A's is to hit, and he hit last night. He had a 3-hit game. So that's something that, again, you put him out there because sometimes you're going to need Nick Kurtz to be your DH. You're going to need other players to get arrested, be your DH, and you can throw them out in right or left and hope it goes well. There is a concept that is talked about in the minor leagues called minor league lighting. The lights are not as good. They aren't as bright. They don't illuminate the field quite in the same way that major league lighting does. It's advantageous to be at a major league facility. Now, if you're alternating, like you said, I'm sure there is an impact there. But if you're not playing in the outfield every single day, there's that as well. And let's not pretend that this was a routine play for Brent Rooker to make, or for Tyler Soderstrom, right? They had two different approaches. Rooker kind of pulled up on the ball, didn't want it to get by him, and it drops down. Soderstrom was sliding, trying to make the catch, and it went by him. So again, I think it's really just a matter of the Cardinals being put in a good position and Wilson Contreras executing. I think one of the things that is really cool about the debut that I had is I got to call Wilson Contreras' 119th hit this season, which is a new single season career high. So there's a lot of different nuance to what happened yesterday, but I think that the credit should go to Contreras instead of any discredit toward the corner outfielders of the A's.
I would agree with that. And in the end, Cardinals just they kept on producing. They kept putting it on the A's, and I have tapped out on my aspirations of this being a playoff team. I said I was done after the sweep to the Yankees, but still keep piling up those wins. And the last two nights have been fun to watch. I've enjoyed watching Michaelis go out there and actually put out on a good performance Tuesday in that game, and then you go out there and you win again yesterday. So it's, make baseball as enjoyable for me as possible these next few weeks as the season wraps up, and do so on non-football nights. That's all I ask for the remainder of this baseball season.
And I know you guys have plenty of coverage coming from Mizzou, but I'm looking forward to football just as much as anyone else. However, it was good to see last night Matthew Liberatore go out and have one of his best starts of the year, certainly his best start in recent memory, being able to get deeper into the game, His fastball velo carried, his breaking stuff looked phenomenal, and got his first win since late June. That's something you love to see. Just a 5-1 win. The Cardinals played well in virtually every aspect of the game. They defended, they had timely hitting, they pitched very well. And when the A's started to mount a bit of a comeback, they shut the door. They got a ground ball when they needed to.
Yeah, and back to Liberatore, I said this last night, I'll echo it again, that everything that he is going to do for this year is just stepping stones to what you hope out of him 2-3 years from now. With that, it's let's get past this 140 inning mark, this 150 inning mark. Let's see how far we can push. And he has been, he's been babied in the second half of the season, and they have put a lot of restrictions on him. You're seeing him get pulled. Last night it was 81 pitches, and majority of the second half it's been about 75. It's all about just eating innings and going out there and being able to make a start every 5th day, every 6th day into the month of September, and prove to himself, prove to the front office, prove to the coaches that this is a guy that you can put in your rotation from day one of the season, and he's going to be in there the entire season. He's going to go the entire year. We're not, they did kind of fiddle a little bit with the rotation in the second half and give him an extended amount of time off, but for the most part, it's been his ball whenever every 5th day. And that's impressed me for a guy that going into this season, there was a lot of talk of, okay, is he just going to continue to be that swingman in the bullpen? Liberatore wanted to be a starter. You know what? He's a major league starter, and he's proved that this entire year.
Yes, I agree with your point completely, and I want to stick with that point when we come back. But first, Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on all of the action right from your phone. And when we do officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app, trusted by millions, safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Stefan, not sure if you saw that the breaking news in Major League Baseball, non-Cardinal related, but Jeff Passan, I'm seeing reports of him saying that Alex Bregman is going to opt out of his contract with the Red Sox after this season and test free agency. So all of the drama that it feels like Alex Bregman kind of his signing brought to the Red Sox this past season with Devers and that situation. And now Bregman is going to look for other opportunities and opt out after just a year.
I can understand that decision, especially if you have an opt-out and you play as well as Bregman has been playing. Bit surprising because we know how well he's hit at Fenway Park in his career. It's like Chipper Jones at Shea Stadium. He just dominates just in Boston. And that's something that, again, you would look at for a player who maybe doesn't have legacy to want to stay there and continue to build legacy. I'm not suggesting that Bregman doesn't want to continue his great legacy, but he's already won a couple of World Series. He has. Yep. Big contract is something that isn't necessarily checked off his list. Big contract in comparison to what some other guys around the league are getting. So that decision doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, that it's just with all the drama around it, I think is what surprises me the most with everything that they kind of handed Bregman for that. If you're the Red Sox, you almost have to give him what he wants and give in to him and bring him back again for another year and just pay him more money.
I think so. I mean, they've had a bunch of team-friendly deals. They locked up Christian Campbell. They locked up Roman Anthony. They locked up Aroldis Chapman. So you have money to spend. And let's not pretend that the Boston Red Sox are an organization that is run cheaply. They can go get free agents. They will go and get free agents if they find them to be valuable players. This isn't necessarily a free agent by traditional standards because he's a player that's been playing for you. So if they extend him, I'm sure that it will have to cost a pretty penny, and we'll see what Bregman ends up getting at. I think a lot of players know their value, and especially with the concerns over 2027, is there going to be a lockout? These guys want to be financially protected. So that's another thing to consider.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's that's a big as they're in a playoff push too. That's just more it's just more drama around that team. That's, it just seems like it's a mess up there in Boston right now.
Certainly does. Certainly does. Well, I want to go back to a point you made about Matthew Liberatore, and we don't have a whole lot more time, but I found this interesting yesterday, sitting in the managers meeting, talking to Ollie Marmol. He said something that was important to me. He talked about Liberatore, and everybody knows that he'd struggled to go deep into games, that he'd struggled to get a win. He said, I'm not looking at any of that. I'm not. Right now, I want to see if the shape of his breaking balls look good. I want to see if he can maintain his velocity and just generally see how strong he can be in some times of adversity getting through these games. And I think last night he checked off all those boxes. Oh, and by the way, he got the win. So Ollie is looking at things from an outsider's perspective, not necessarily from the perspective of a fan. And that level of awareness, not putting too much pressure on a guy like Liberatore, who has never pitched this many innings in his life, I think helps him out down the stretch here.
I think, and to hear that and to hear that's how Ollie's managing also kind of tells me that Ollie isn't concerned about his future in St. Louis. And he's spoken out about that too, with the first time that we saw Yadi welcomed into the dugout, and we're going to see Yadi again for all 3 games this weekend against the Giants on Hall of Fame and 1985 weekend here in St. Louis. But there's a lot of question marks about what Ollie's future is going to look like under new management with Chaim Bloom coming in, and to kind of put that into, kind of look at that and put that into perspective. That to me is telling me that Ollie is looking at a future with Matthew Liberatore being in his starting rotation, that this is him saying, hey, I want to see what he's going to do here, because in 2028, when I'm still the manager of the Cardinals, this is going to be his role as a starting pitcher for me. And I think that is, to me, that's kind of the mindset of Ollie, looking years into the future, because he knows that the team he has right now is not a World Series winning team.
Yeah, I think he's assessing everything. He's assessing all of his options for the future and of course for this season. I personally, looking at what Ollie Marmol has done this year, is incredible. I think he is really, really one of the best managers in baseball to this point. And I know that the record doesn't necessarily suggest that, but look at what he's had to play with for the majority of the year. Players that, again, still have so many question marks. There isn't really a player that's come up from AAA that you look at and say, this guy is going to be starting for the Cardinals every day in 2026. And these are the players that are playing every single day because injury, because of other reasons, and they're still 1 game under 500. So I think he deserves a lot of props. I think that it would be a really, really sad thing to see if he was let go. And in no way am I suggesting that that's the plan, because I think internally you talk to a lot of other people and they love Ollie. They love who he is. They love his personality, and they love the type of work ethic and effort that he puts into this team. So just from not only a fan's perspective, but from somebody that's been around the guy, the Cardinals are in very, very good hands from a managerial standpoint, and I'm really excited to see what Chaim Bloom will do as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's, I think, the best way, the healthiest way to look at it the rest of this season, and as we enter into November, December of the Chaim Bloom era.
It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Very interesting to see what he will do. And only time will tell what the Cardinals will plan to be in 2026. And that's one of the interesting parts about this offseason. Well, that's all the time we have here on STL Sports Central on the Card Central 365 show. Joe, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for allowing me to come on this show, to be here with these amazing people in St. Louis. And in this comment, it's going to bring a tear to my eye, but this is it's amazing. And you guys have helped me ingratiate myself with the community in St. Louis. I love doing these shows. I love the people we work with. And as long as you guys will have me, I'm happy to continue being on as much as possible. I never thought I would like doing this as much as I do, but it's really the people that I love working with, especially you, Joe. I consider you a friend and a colleague.
Yeah, we're just renting you right now, Stefan. That's the way I view it. Until you go to much bigger things, as you proved last night. So really happy to see it happen last night, and look forward to having many more shows with you right now until you're signed away elsewhere.
And we can really test my college football knowledge eventually. That'll be interesting to see me talk about something that isn't the Cardinals. We will certainly be having plenty of fun here on STL Sports Central. The sky's the limit for this company, and I really appreciate everybody for all of your support last night and every show that I have done here as well. For everyone at STL Sports Central, this show is provided by Gray Bar. This content is provided by DraftKings, excuse me. And, of course, for Joe Roderick, I'm Stefan Caray. Thank you all, and we will see you a little bit later on. Cardinals will face off against the San Francisco Giants this weekend.